America, Antonin Scalia is dead. That is the news from this week. Now, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to scold progressives for this one. So I won't say where I was, but I was in a room full of progressives, and it was announced that Antonin Scalia had died. And instead of us, for a moment, taking politics aside and sort of saying, wow, somebody who, truth be told, is a part of American history has died, we saw people celebrating. Some were celebrating, and I'm not gonna lie, I took offense to it. And not only just on in that particular meeting, but all throughout Twitter and Facebook. I even caught myself for a moment as I tweeted something and celebrating the fact that this guy sort of passed on or passed to the next life. And before we talk about the political implications of his death, for a moment, let's acknowledge the fact that, yes, I understand that politics is a blood sport, but this guy lost his life. And he has 9 children, numerous amounts, dozens, I would argue, of grandchildren. He has colleagues on the court, including Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who loved him. And so for a moment, before we get into the politics of all of this, let's take a moment to actually mourn this guy's death and realize that whether we like it or not, he is a part of American history. And there's a lot of people out there that really love him. I don't agree or espouse to any of this guy's political beliefs. But I do want to take a moment to have an honest reflection on this guy's life and what he has meant for the past, he's been on the court for almost 30 years, longer than I've been alive. He's been on the courts. Now, with that being said, I think his death, yes, does have real lasting political implications. So now, this, I think, is just divine intervention when it comes to the labor unions. They will, once again, public sector labor unions will most likely live to see another day. Right? And this is a moment for them, I think, as a public sector labor unions to really re-gauge and figure out how they work on engaging members. So when this case comes up again, because it will, that they are prepared and ready to take it on full frontal, take on the fight, but take the bull by the horns. Now I think the next political implication, besides the cases that are before this court, will be who will be Scalia's replacement. Now, this one has caused quite a bit of conversation here in Washington and throughout the campaign trail, because you have a lot of Republicans saying that the president should not appoint the next justice and should hold off appointing the next justice until a new president is sworn in. Now, there's a couple problems with that. That in and of itself is completely and totally and utterly against the Constitution, right? The Constitution gives the president, no matter where that president, he or she sits in their term, the right to appoint a member to the United States Supreme Court. So yes, it's in the president's constitutional responsibility to appoint somebody. And the job of the Senate is to advise and consent. Not to filibuster, not to make the choice, but to advise and consent. So when Mitch McConnell goes to a podium and says, I'm going to fight this justice tooth and nail, that's not advising or consenting. On the other hand, when senators like Senator Collins from Maine says, I plan to give the president's nomination my full attention, meaning I'm going to actually advise and consent on a nomination, that's what you're supposed to do. Senator McCollins is doing the right thing for Republicans. McConnell, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, all that list, they're doing the wrong things for Republicans, right? By saying, we're going to obstruct, we're going to filibuster. No, 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 no. Why don't you work with the president to pick a moderate nominee to the courts? And there are a lot of good moderate nominees out there. Case in point being Loretta Lynch, who would be a great person to sit on the Supreme Court, who passed the Senate bipartisanly. And the only holdups Loretta Lynch had in the Senate, let me be very clear, is the fact that senators hated Eric Holder. And so they took it out on Loretta Lynch and delayed her appointment beyond belief, almost 100 and some odd days, because they hated Eric Holder so much that they couldn't pick his replacement, which to me is counterintuitive. I digress, right? Either way, the president needs to pick an appointment and let Justice Scalia's soul rest in peace.